It's a blueprint, a rubric, a guiding light to meet deadlines. It's formulaic to Dorothy's court, so give us more of the norm. Come along, it's formulaic.
Hey guys, my name's Shelby.
And my name's James.
And this is Formulaic.
Woo! We're back in action. Ugh.
Ooh, we didn't... I didn't remember how to do the show.
Hey, this is our third episode, technically. Even though it's still episode 0, we're still trying to... This is proof of concept still.
Right. This is our third episode 0, a.k.a. our 5th episode 0.
Yeah, and either Power Rangers is so formulaic that literally anyone can do it, or that was proof of concept. When we were reading that script, I was like, this is an episode of this show.
It really was. We did our job.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do it again.
Oh, we sure will. And I hope I'm able to... If I close my eyes throughout this recording, don't think I'm being pretentious as like, oh, I need to feel the words come to me. I have such a headache in my eyes. I think it's from looking at screens too often. Even though I have these blue blockers on, it's insane.
Do you need to update your glasses prescription?
No. It's just the screens are hurting me.
I see. I'm so sorry, James. For the future, if you ever want to reschedule a recording, I love that. When I got something scheduled and someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, can we reschedule it? I'm like, yes, thank God, every time.
I hate it because generally it's me waiting for 2 hours after the record time for someone to say, hey, I'm so sorry, I was sleeping.
Okay, that seems really targeted at a different co-host of yours.
No, it's actually multiple co-hosts of mine. No. They love to sleep.
Oh, James, you pick sleepy friends.
I know. All my friends are sleepy depressives, and I'm an anxiety depressive, so we somehow work when we are both awake.
Interesting. What I was picturing was them sleeping in a bed and you next to them running on a human-sized hamster wheel.
That's kind of me and Nicole. Because my only pet peeve with Nicole is that she sets an alarm and does not wake up to it every single day, same time, same network, but never, ever in my life have I seen her wake up right when the alarm goes off.
That's wild. I simply can't live that way. My brain doesn't work that way. But you know what? People are different. And that's what we're going to talk about today. During
I don't use alarms anymore. Once the sun goes up, I wake up.
The sun's rays are your alarm. That's beautiful, James.
Also in the summer times, I get up at 5:30 in the summer, and now I'm getting up at around 7. That's
not too bad, I guess. I get up a half hour before I have to do anything. So we are taking it back truly to my childhood, James, because our next formulaic show is what? Why are you making that face?
Oh, no, I'm excited. I'm surprised.
Oh, I was worried I was doing something wrong. You were doing like your mouth was open in such an O that I was like, oh my gosh, I did something wrong. He is shocked and appalled. But no, we are talking about the scary story show, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, and I sure am.
Me too. I was watching this show, James, and I was like, I have to wait and watch this during the daytime. I can't keep watching this scary show at night.
I started watching this horror movie last night. I was like, I need to watch this in the daytime because this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. You ever heard of a little movie called An Inconvenient Truth?
Oh, it's so scary. And it only becomes more and more scary as the days pass into this future where Al Gore is still being joked about on podcasts.
It's no joke. That's a scary movie, guys.
I was freaked out by the ghosts in this show. I was freaked out by kids being in the dark So I guess I am afraid of the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And every episode I watched, I was like reminded. I was like, I remember this episode from when I was a kid. Like it scared. They stuck with me. I think my whole sense of like what I'm afraid of in movies and stories came from this show.
I mainly remember a few episodes. One's the chameleon episode. That's the one or lizard. It's the one where a girl, there's an evil version of her maybe, and they're like, which one are you going to zap into being a chameleon or a lizard? I don't know. That's a weird one. And then the bicycle one where the kid just gets drowned in a reservoir or something while he's on his bike maybe. And then I'm cold. That one, for some weird reason, stuck in my father's brain so hard that if anyone said, they're like, oh, Dad, I need a coat on, I'm cold, he'd go, I'm cold, I'm cold. And it's one of those things where I'm like, as an adult, is this even the true quote? And it is.
Right.
There's a famous miscommunication with Nicole and I. I would always say this Richard Scarry, Busy World of Richard Scarry, or Busy Town, of, oh, you put too much yeast in the dough, Baker Dave. And Nicole's like, James, if you heard that in preschool, that is absolutely nowhere in that entire show. And I found the episode, and the only thing that I got wrong was the name of the baker.
See, they didn't believe you, James, but you trusted in yourself, and you found the quote. It just wasn't Baker Dave.
Yeah, it's like X-Files. You need to believe.
That's what X-Files is all about. That was another show that scared me when I was a kid. I never watched it. I just heard the creepy theme song.
The theme song, I think, is more creepy than the show itself. When that ghost gets elongated and stretched out like taffy.
For sure. I mean, Are You Afraid of the Dark? The opening credits are scarier than the rest of the show, too. It's like this washed out, like black and white, old footage kind of thing of like a boat on the shore and like creepy music playing. I hate it.
Also, as an adult who loves film and whatnot, I have vocabulary of like what makes this weird. And it's just, it was filmed in Canada, this intro. It feels very Canadian, and this show is very Canadian.
Oh, yeah. The way that the kids talk, I'm like, that's Canada, baby. There's no way you found these actors in the United States of America.
Oh, absolutely. Except for some of the adults who just all of a sudden have a thick Brooklyn accent.
I mean, sometimes you gotta.
But you want to wonder what is the Brooklyn of Canada? Let us know, Canadian listeners.
Yeah, is it like Toronto?
But what in Toronto, you got to break down the 5 boroughs.
I don't know any more about Toronto geography, so I can't help. We need a listener to help.
I think there's 5 provinces of Canada, and if that's the case... Providences of Canada, excuse you. This is Canadian. They spell labor with a U, so...
They got extra letters, you're right.
Yeah, extra syllables as well. The extra provinces of Canada, there's 5, maybe each one coronates... I know I'm saying shit wrong. With one of the 5 boroughs. Which one's Staten?
Staten Island, Prince Edward Island. There you go.
Is that a whole province?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
P-I-E. P-E-I, baby. P-I-E, that's pie. I love pie.
Oh, my God. I love pie when it's those 2 things and a squiggly thing on top.
Ooh, I love pie when it's 3.14159.
Oh, Life of Pi. But let's get into the life of Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's just, it was always on. You watch it, and it's good.
I was here like, oh, James actually did some research. He's got some... He knows a little bit about the history of the show. I was like, that's so exciting. I'm just going to sit back and let him go.
Here is one thing for this formula, Shelby, is that today you actually have to write about 90% of the scripts because this was, at least season 2 and maybe season 3, all women were writing this.
That's fantastic.
I think it was Chloe Brown, maybe? Just every single episode is like Chloe Brown, Chloe Brown, Chloe Brown. I'm like, hell yeah.
What's fun is you basically have like this show that's basically an anthology series of little horror short stories. Mm-hmm. And I think that's cute. And they're contained within the bookends of this like midnight whatever society where they're telling each other stories.
It's just midnight society. It's not midnight. What you would just take out the whatever and you got it.
I thought it was like a midnight story society or midnight fun time society.
Dang, I should have started this episode as submitted for your approval of the Midnight Society, the tale of these two dumb podcasters.
The tale of the Formulaic podcast. Because that totally fits the formula of episode titles, which is usually the tale of adjective wow. Take it again. The tale of adjective noun.
Yeah.
It took me so long to say those words.
Okay, well, now I can't edit it out. I was going to edit it smoothly. I'm good at my job.
I know. I even left space for it and everything. And then I'm like, nah, I got to reference it again.
Oh, my God. So do you want to get into what kind of formula did you see? I saw a couple because there were a few episode formulas that came up multiple times, like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I probably went a little more broad with it, so I'll go first, and then you can talk about the kind of varying things that happen. You probably watched more of the show, too.
Yeah, I watched about all of season 2 and some miscellaneouses like the Tale of the Dead Man's Flow. Oh, baby, the scariest fucking episode.
You know, I watched season 1, and you were talking about the I'm Cold ghost, and I was like, oh, maybe since you're talking about that one, I'll watch that one. Mm-hmm. And then I just got too spooked, and I was like, never mind, I'm not going to watch one with a ghost. I'm fine. All right, so I don't remember any of the Campfire Kids' names, the Midnight Society people, but they all had super, like, 90s names, like Beth Ann and, you know, I don't know, Kiki and, like, whatever.
Chadwick.
Yeah, that really common 90s name. So first, the kids meet at the fire, and one of them is fucking around. Uh-huh. And usually that one tells the story, or the person they're fucking around with tells the story. Mm-hmm. So I remember one, like, Kiki came in and was just taking, like, flash pictures of everyone. And then another time, someone was, like, pouring water on someone else. There's always, like, someone's messing around. They're just fucking around.
Yeah.
They sit down to tell a story. The story's usually about 2 kids.
Yeah.
And the 2 kids are of the same gender, but have opposite aesthetics, like a jock and a nerd, or like a fashionable person and a horse girl, or like, you know, the better dressed or stronger looking kid is usually kind of a brat. The alternative to this is that it's one kid and they have to save their family.
Yeah.
So these kids get involved in something similar to how the kid telling the story was fucking around. Uh-huh. They like to bring that in. And then whatever they're fucking around with, whatever they end up in, usually leads to some strange old person. There's some strange old man or a creepy old lady is involved in some way. Then we go back to the fire, like halfway through the episode. We're back at the fire, and the kids are like, but what about this part of the story? Yeah, blah, 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 this part of the story. And then someone else is like, why don't we just listen to the rest of the story to find out? And then they continue the story, and we're back in it. And the kid saves the day. That's kind of just, usually it's the worst dressed kid solving some kind of issue, and sometimes the better dressed kid gets like abducted and then the worst dressed one has to help out, but whatever, they solve it, everything's good. And then back at the fire, there's like a stupid ending line where the kid telling the story finishes off like, and Miss Maple was never seen or heard from again. And then everyone claps, and then the meeting adjourns.
Or something to tie it back into the fucking around, like, oh, you like not rewinding your VHSs? Well, here's a story about that. Then it'll come back around and they'll say like, and that's why you always be kind and rewind. Or
exactly like that.
Your life's going to fast forward to death. So, yeah.
That's perfect. James, you're a writer.
Woo! Okay, so here's what I have. I believe I had... Well, just writing, these were some of my, or viewing, these were just some of my observations before really establishing what's going on. It's turning your vice, obsession, hyperfixation, or hobby, or fear into a paranormal entity that goes against you. The parents always lack empathy, but then I was like, wait, backspace. Might not be part of the formula, but actually just simply being parents in the 90s.
That's just the way it was.
So here's the first thing that I had. Establish obsession/quirk. How does that affect the normal teenager/tweenage life? Make that scary somehow. No one believes them. And then using nerd knowledge to overcome the scary. Moral of every episode is like what you like, but in a healthy moderation, or don't step too far out of line. Conform. And then we also have the kind of urban legend episode. So the first one... Oh, no. This is the urban legend and we'll get into ghost story. So urban legend is fish out of water, learns/is introduced to an urban legend, comes to grip with the urban legend and its paranormal properties being real. No one believes them besides someone close to them. They work to solve/overcome the legend. The legend climaxes. All seems lost until they realize what needs to be done. In ghost stories, it is usually done with a trinket they were presented to by the ghost, and then everything's all good.
Yeah, there's always a ghost giving. When there's a ghost, they have a trinket for you. That's like...
Or like, hey, I'm showing you my jacket. There's something in that jacket. I'm giving you a necklace that turns you into a hippie child from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, the same formula for alien race coming to Earth and the children need to save the day is like the urban legend thing of it, even though it's not an Earth. That happens a lot. Some outside entity comes and then they just need to like come to grips with it. No one believes them. So I've realized, of course, you and I, we like making things goofy and ridiculous. Of
course we do.
So I think for this, we need to make it ridiculous, but in a horror sense. And just, if you were to see this as a child, I want children to be scarred of like, this was so fucked up and emotionally scarring. I don't want to see it ever again, which I thought even before I watched this episode, I was like, the story should be an outsider, like a friend of a friend coming into the Midnight Society and is like, I need to prove myself, and I'm going to make the most fucked up story ever. And that's the plot of the scariest episode, The Dead Man's Float, is that a dirtbag kid comes to the group and is like, I'm going to prove myself, and tells this terrifying story.
Amazing. Yeah, we could definitely do that. I have a list of potential episode titles.
All right. Hell yeah.
If you would like to hear them.
You say your stuff and then I'll present my outline, or not my outline, my thing. Go.
James, how many times have I told you? I don't want you to present your thing.
Oh my God.
We don't have that kind of friendship.
I don't know what I'm trying to, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to read these episode titles. We don't have to use any of them. I just thought they might be fun.
The thing isn't on the tip of my tongue. I can't reach down and self-suck, you perverts.
Okay, we've got here The Tale of the Undulating Cheeseburger.
Okay.
But by the way, I used I got inspiration from a random adjective and noun generator. So some of these are, The tale of the smelly church.
Oh, okay. That's in my head right now.
The tale of the howling insurance policy.
Okay.
The tale of the glow-in-the-dark chihuahua.
Okay, all right.
The tale of the handsome elevator. The tale of the ripe secretary.
Oh, dang. That's a little too dirty for our show.
And the tale of the voracious Honda Civic.
Okay. There were a couple in there that I think fit what I have to present, and it is not my thing.
Present it.
There's not a single, and I hate this about TV shows that don't do it. There is not a single god dang Christmas episode. We're releasing this in December. We should make the Christmas episode.
We should make the Christmas episode. James, that sounds like a great idea.
The smelly church would be great in the howling
insurance policy.
Yes. So it could be, I don't know, a child sets fire to a house and they can't get the insurance to work because it's that I don't know how we would do that. Or it's a werewolf, baby.
I was thinking, well, glow-in-the-dark chihuahua would work great. I mean, be like a puppy at Christmas kind of thing.
Okay.
There are plenty of dog Christmas episodes. I also think the tale of the smelly church would work. It could be like they're doing that. My mom used to do this thing during the holiday season where she would boil like cinnamon sticks and cloves and stuff she'd like set it to simmer on the stove in water, and it made the house smell like cinnamon sticks and cloves, and I hated it. Like, what if someone was obsessed with cinnamon sticks and cloves, or even like incense or candles, or they're smoking marijuana or something, and they're smoking it they're doing it in the church, and it's making the church smelly.
And guess why they're doing it? To mask the other smell in the church, the smell of rotted corpses. Maybe it's ghosts, and you're trying to mask that. That's what potpourri's all about, because the Pope would be carted around, and he smells real bad after he dies.
Is that why it's called potpourri?
I think that's why it's called potpourri, unless someone straight up lied to me.
I think someone lied to you.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's find this out. Potpourri.
If this is the truth, I think it'll be delightful, but I just don't think it is.
I don't know how to spell potpourri.
P. Starts with a P, James. I've got you that far.
All right, history of potpourri.
There you go.
No, because also it's like potpourri. Yes, I think someone just straight up lied to me, guys.
Someone lied to you, James.
But that could lead us into this entire story.
It could, yeah, the potpourri. Mm-hmm. And it could be like someone lying. We could put that in the episode. About someone being like, potpourri they call it that because the Pope used to be carted around. He would smell bad.
And let's say this church was the last stop, but they messed up and didn't give him his final rites or something. So the Pope is trying to, or maybe like a demon is trying to get out, and that's why it smells like the rotted flesh and the potpourri. The Pope is trying to mask this. So the kid needs to be like, oh, well, I need to either do the final rites, like, I don't know what you would do.
You're always bringing Christianity into it, James.
See, I'm glad it's Christmas time, because I was like, we can shoehorn Christianity in here left and right. So it could be that, or it could be a tradition that a child is going away from. Oh, no, that's good. That's good. Potpourri or cloves is something that you always do during the Christmas time, the holidays. And a kid wants to veer away from that. And by doing that is when a Krampus or a demon type thing comes around, and those evil spirits aren't being warded off by these charms, these spells in the air.
The potpourri spells. So it's like a town kind of. The town has this festival every year, maybe, because they're like annual Christmas festival. They put bowls of potpourri in all the rooms of the church or something.
They are on a hellmouth.
They're on a hellmouth, of course. Who isn't these days, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, I don't feel funny at all today, but but I'll keep talking. So, yes, maybe there's some kind of tradition where they're putting potpourri in all of the rooms of the church, and they're like, okay, new kid, you go do this room. And the kid's like, I don't fucking care about this, and doesn't put the potpourri in the room. And then, like, that night, it starts to smell like rotting flesh in that room. And they're like, ugh, why is it like this? That's gross. But no one else seems to notice except, like, the kids.
Yeah. And I think it should be in the basement because my only experience with rotted flesh is in a basement.
James, what the fuck?
Okay, or I should say rotted meat. Meat is flesh, though. My friend Tyler Wright, he doesn't mind if I shout him out like that. His old home as a teenager, their power went out once, and when it came back on, it was during the winter time, and they had a meat fridge, a meat freezer in their basement. They didn't know the power didn't kick back onto that. So in the following summer, they went down there, opened it up, and just waffed out. And because I was like the hardcore horrorcore metal kid, they're like, yeah, man, you like this, you like rotted flesh, don't you? So I had to help him take this out. And what we had to do was we had face masks on that were layered with toothpaste and shaving cream just to beat out any other scent.
Wow. What a life you've lived, James.
So we could put that in. Maybe he like puts toothpaste or something underneath his nose to be like, oh, this is stinky stink.
Yeah. Because like no one could go, okay, so so it just stinks in there, but we're going to need like a motivation for this kid to actually go into the basement again, right? To like find out what's stinking down there. Like, why would they send the kid back in?
Well, no, he like forgets his Game Boy or something.
Oh, that's perfect. He left his Game Boy there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Or he left his slap cards. Like his family went to Vegas. And you've been to Vegas with the slap cards.
What's a slap card?
So there's people on the street that'll just like slap these cards and they have pictures of sex workers on them with numbers on it to call to order them.
I don't know about this, James.
Oh, yeah.
This is news to me.
No, this is for real. Our friend Dan from Power Playthrough lives in Vegas. I was like, hey, man, you ever slap card? And he's like, no, I've never needed the reason to be a slap card worker.
Why would we put this in the episode?
Okay, maybe not slap cards. They're cards with pretty women on it.
Like, it's collectible Pokemon cards, but for boobs.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to have these. That's why they need to go back down and say, one, they want to, jack off watching these.
Okay. So we got 2 kids. Obviously, these are going to be boys.
I was thinking 2 boys, 2 girls, and so we can hamper down on our voice actors. Twins!
You can't... James, okay.
What's up?
But why don't we just go with like the 2-kid approach? Because I don't know about later seasons, but in the first season especially, it's mostly just about 2 kids.
Yeah.
So then we don't have to have 2 boys, 2 girls. We just have 2 kids.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're twins, so when we have to find voice actors, it's just one voice actor.
No, we're not going to make one voice actor do twins. That would sound so confusing.
Oh, I'd love to do twins. Am I right, guys?
What you would have to do is like pan one twin's lines to the right and pan the other twin's lines to the left. And then we'd be like, you have to listen to it with headphones in order to be able to differentiate between the 2 twins.
No, here's what I do. It's a music trick that you do for dubbing to sound like you're in a choir. You just slightly move one a little bit tuned down and one a little tuned up. So they're still on the same pitch and wavelength, but they are differentiated enough for you to be like, oh, these are 2 distinct voices.
Got it. I still think we should get 1 per. I don't think it would be hard. We got together that whole group for Power Rangers so last minute.
R2, I just can't. We parent trap it. Like we say, like, oh yeah, we were parent trapped. Our family split. So one has a British posh accent and one's like a ruffian from New Jersey accent.
Okay. So, and they're welcoming this one kid back into the family, or they got back together.
Yeah, this was a few years ago. They're happily ever after now.
But we want that kind of outsider coming in feel for the Potpourri Festival, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's say they are siblings.
Yeah.
And we could either have it, or maybe it's just step siblings and we ditch the twin thing. They're step siblings, and this is a tradition that one family has had, and the other's like, I don't want to do this at all.
Yeah, and that parent is like the kid's dad or whatever is like, come on, don't you want to fit? This is our new family now.
Yeah.
And we...
This is becoming step by step, day by day.
You're trying to turn everything into step by step.
God, I wish I could. Okay, so if we're thinking of this outline, we are going to church. It's maybe December 23rd.
Okay.
The kids are in charge of, maybe there's two separate areas of the basement, like the rec area and maybe the kitchen, at least all the...
Yeah, it's got to be kind of like a creepy closed off place because we want it to be certain that like we got to creep people out, you know, when they go in there. So like maybe like a bathroom.
Yeah.
That's the scariest thing I can think of.
No, I've been in churches with basement bathrooms and they're scary.
Yeah, hell yeah. Because then maybe we could have the the Pope ghost is like trying to knock through the wall behind the shower or something that was just installed in there.
Wait, why does it have a shower? I was just thinking.
I don't know, James. I thought about it while I was saying it.
Oh, maybe a priest lives there. It's like one of those kinds of churches.
Yeah, totally. Catholic. Or they just were like, oh, we got these dirty kids coming in here all the time. It doesn't matter. The bathroom is newer. So it's like installed next to where the old crypt used to be or something under the church. And then when they don't put the potpourri in that bathroom, it gets smelly. That's good. Okay. Here's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
And we'll come to the like solution of the episode as we go, right? Obviously, they gotta go put potpourri in that room and you know, whatever, do something else. But
it has to be in a bowl on the toilet, like the back of the toilet, because that's where my mom always put potpourri.
Yeah, I think that's where it goes because it helps with like the poo smell, you know?
I think you should put it in the actual like basin of the toilet.
You should poop into the bowl of potpourri.
Oh, dang. That solves everything.
There you go. If you just put it right in there.
Why don't you just wipe with the leaves of the potpourri?
That's genius, James.
Yeah. Eat potpourri, then your duty doesn't stink.
Oh my God. If you go on the potpourri diet, then you don't have to use that poo be gone or whatever that spray is called.
Is potpourri low-cal? I might get on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's plant-based. So I imagine it's low-cal.
Will it help me with my cum gutters?
Probably, though.
Okay.
You'll have to supplement with fluids because potpourri real dry.
Okay.
Put it in a smoothie.
All right.
Potpourri smoothie with some almond milk.
Will do.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. It's snowing. The kids gather. They're all cold, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is perfect." They're so cold, and they're all there, and they show up late, and they're like, what's one of the kids' names? Maybe like one of the little ones or something. I don't know. Brian, Dave. Brantley. Okay, so they get there, some of the kids. We've got like a nice diverse cast of kids, meaning we have one black person and then like two girls and more boys than girls.
Yeah.
That's the 90s diversity is they're all white except one of them. And there's always more boys than girls. So they get there and they're like, why did Brantley, call us here. It's almost Christmas and it's cold. And they're like, sitting around the fire and they're like, oh, trying to like warm up. And then Brantley gets there and they're like, come on, Brantley, this story better be good if you called us out here for the Midnight Society on such a blah, blah, blah day. And Brantley starts going off about like, well, not going off, but Brantley's like, well, tradition is important and we have this tradition together, and tradition can be like a ritual, and we want to make sure we have a good year next year. So it's important, just tying it to the whole ritual thing. Yeah. So that would be like the start out for the bookends.
Well, okay. Oh, so are we writing the episode now?
Yeah, we're writing the episode, baby.
Okay. I thought like one of the Brantley would have been in the show. So
okay. So take it back. Name's not Brantley.
Yeah, I said we just name them after our friends.
Okay.
Let's do
Sean.
Yeah, we got a Sean, we got a Sam, we've got a Nicole, I guess.
What are our other friends? Nicole.
And then name what's your boyfriend's name, unless you don't want to say that?
He's just very private. I'll come up with a special name for him, like a code name. How about
I love you? That's what his name is.
Oh my God, James! I can't fucking believe you. I can't believe you brought that up. I told you about that in private.
Oh, then I will bleep it. It's not a name. It was just a phrase Shelby accidentally said.
No, yeah, I accidentally told my brand new boyfriend, I love you. And then just slipped out.
Immediately messaged me, said, oh, I pulled a James today.
I pulled a James because you did that to Nicole, right when you started dating, right?
The first day we made it official. I slipped it out. Okay, so we have Sean, Sam, Nicole, I love you.
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Let's just call him Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah.
And then Nick.
Yeah, I have a friend named Nick.
I also have a friend named Nick.
We got double Nicks in the house.
That's 1, 2, 3. Oh, so did we want to incorporate the whole a friend of a friend coming and saying like, hey, I'm here to... Oh, I guess this isn't like a real... This is just a goofy story. It's not fucked up.
Well, it's going to be fucked up. Well, I guess, yeah, it's not going to be fucked up, but it could still be scary. Like, we're going to show some rotting flesh and stuff, you know? Right. Is that okay? Or do you want to come up with something that's like... human centipede or something.
Oh, no.
Okay. So for this idea, I think it would make more sense to have that core group and not be bringing a new person in. But I don't want to leave your idea.
Oh, no, I'm fine with this. So I say Shelby is the one telling the story.
Okay, great. That sounds perfect.
So unfortunately, we do have 3 boys, 3 girls.
That's fine. We're progressive.
All right.
Or should we add one more boy in there?
Let's add Franklin, my old cat.
Yeah. Let's add Franklin in there.
And he's just there in his little sweater that he would wear during Christmas, hanging out with us.
Oh, wait. Do we put James in there?
Nah.
You're not going to be there.
No, that's usually how it would be at parties. They would forget to invite me, and then some of them would die in a car accident.
Oh my God, James.
Yeah, I could have prevented.
Stop what you're doing right now. Take out Franklin. Put yourself in there.
Okay, James is in there.
Jesus.
Okay, so they come in and they're like, or are they outside?
Yeah, they're outside. It's snowing. Mm-hmm. They're freezing around. They're like building up the campfire. And they're like, oh my God, it's so cold. I'm going to like freeze to death before Shelby tells this story. Like, it better be good.
Mm-hmm. They're in snowshoes because they're prepared. It's Canada.
They're in snowshoes. They have long underwear on. You can't see it because it's underneath their snowsuits. Balaclavas.
So maybe Sam's talking to Nicole saying, oh, man, Shelby better get here quick. I am freezing my buns off. And then Nicole says, oh, yeah, you're telling me. At least you got hair on your body. And then James says to Sean, it goes, hey, nice Buffalo Bills jacket. And Sean goes, stop making fun of me for that. And then I say, hey, man, it's tradition. And then Shelby comes in and says,
oh, yeah. So you agree with me about the tradition. You're like, hey, man, it's tradition. I come in, it's like, it is tradition. Our traditional pre-Christmas midnight society story. And Sam's like, or Nick is like, I don't know. I think some traditions should be canceled when it's 20 degrees outside or something.
Yeah, and then Sam goes, or at least moved to one of our homes. We all have fireplaces.
But it's not this fire, Shelby says. And then James is like, I'm all for tradition, but I'm also all for getting it done as soon as we can.
Maybe someone goes like, can we get the fire going a little harder? And then I say, I know something that we could throw in there. Sean's jacket. And then he's like, why do you hate the Bills so much? You don't even like football.
That's perfect. And then Nicole is like, Shelby, why don't you just get started? And then I say, I submit for the approval of the Midnight Society, the tale of the smelly church.
Oh, we did it! Also, exterior night,
I
campfire.
think we're probably not going to write it like that anymore because, yes, that's how a TV show would be written, but because we're doing these as table reads, I have an idea for how I'm going to do the stage directions going forward so they fit better for the audio medium.
Okay, alrighty.
So I probably won't be saying, like, interior church. I'll be like, I'll just describe it. I'll be like, we open on a cold, snowy campfire or whatever.
All right. Exterior day church. Or I guess we should start at home. Or do you think the conversation between the son and the father, are they happening outside of the church as they're walking in, or are they happening at their home as they're about to leave for church?
I think maybe they pull up to the church in the car. So it's like there's the mom and the dad, and they've recently been married. So like maybe the mom and one of the kids and the dad get out of the car, but the second kid doesn't want to get out of the car, and he's just sitting there like looking at his Game Boy or his sexy lady pictures or something. Yeah.
Wait, no, it's a sexy lady Game Boy game.
He's playing Leisure Suit Larry, the Game Boy edition.
The Switch version.
Yeah, and the dad sees that he's still sitting in the car and comes back and is like, hey, I know things have been a little weird since we moved here to live with Sandra and your new stepbrother, but why don't you make just a little bit of an effort to fit in and see what, maybe you can like get used to things around here. And the kid's like, yeah, whatever.
I think this kid's name is Cody, and then the stepbrother's name is Chadwick.
Cody and Chadwick. That's perfect.
Cody with a K.
Cody with a K. Yeah. That's even better. Chadwick, not with a K.
Yeah. There is no K at the end of Chadwick.
No K at the end of Chadwick because Cody took it.
Uh-huh.
So
it's KCODY.
Yeah, that's perfect. That was actually part of when they got married, that was part of the document, the legal document that they made, the name change document. Okay, great. So Cody's like, okay, fine. I'll, go to the church. And they go and they're talking about, there's like a banner out front for the annual Christmas potpourri church, whatever.
What can we call this event, this festival?
Do we want it to have a name that makes sense, or do we want it to be very silly?
Either. Pitch whatever.
We could put, usually that kind of stuff has like the name of the town in there. So it could be like the pork pie. Maybe the town's called pork pie.
Yeah, pork pie, the hat Yogi Bear wears.
Yeah, the pork pie potpourri festival.
Okay, hell yeah.
And it's spelled, instead of potpourri, it's like spelled pope pourri. It's spelled the way that James thought it was spelled when he thought it was about the Pope.
Because it is Saint Pope Perry.
Yeah, Saint Pope Perry. So it's the Pope Perry Festival. The Pork Pie Pope Perry Festival.
That's Pork Pie's claim to fame is the Pope once came here dead, have you? But at least the Pope graced this town's presence. And ever since that happened, they've been seeing a little uptick since the 1800s. Like, that's when they started flourishing.
So that's when they get into the church, there's like people, they go sit down and someone's already presenting. So the family sits in the pews and the kid like reluctantly puts away Leisure Suit Larry and someone's up at the altar, whatever. Someone's up there.
The pulpit.
Yeah, someone's up there explaining like, our town used to just be a little dirt crossroads with a couple of wooden shacks, but then the Pope came through, and since then we've and died here. The Pope came through.
No, the Pope was already dead when he came here.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. The Pope's dead body came through here and was laid to rest, and because the Pope's still there, right? Like No,
the Pope's. Or, yeah, I guess we said the Pope was... No, the Pope, maybe you needed to do something to keep his spirit at bay. Or maybe just the Pope's spirit is so strong that
it leaves a mark on every town he passes through.
Yeah, like it's... what's a way besides snail trail that I can give this? It's like a snail trail, like when you wipe something and it just keeps smudging along. That's the Pope's spirit.
Ooh. So maybe the story is like the Pope came through and someone had to sit up all night with his body or something, and they sat up all night with his body in a certain room, and there was someone who was like known for their potpourri, so they sat up all night with their little bowl of potpourri in the room with the Pope's body. And then since that day that person sat vigil, did their potpourri vigil, the town has like become this bustling little center of activity. And that's like the story that they tell.
Yeah, and Pope Perry specifically said, hey, I want to go to places that there could be demonic presences in. So this smudging is actually keeping the demons at bay, but with the potpourri now, you need that there in order to keep that smudge intact, or the demons will crawl through.
Got it. So there were already demons. So they were like, instead of their town was like a, dusty little crossroads with a couple shacks, it was like, it faced a lot of pestilence and like, is often invaded by rats and people would fall ill all the time. But then once the Pope thing happened, it's that all that stopped.
We could keep the rusty shacks in four corners because it's like, oh, well, that's all we could maintain with what was going on.
People were ill all the time. How are you supposed to build a real house when you're sick, buddy?
Yeah, and if they're so ill, all they're screaming about is brass monkey and whatnot.
Exactly. Those boys are beasts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the kid is listening to, like, barely listening to the whole story behind that they're telling at the church. And then after that, everyone's getting up and they're like, okay, everyone take your bowl of potpourri and go sit with it in the room or whatever and say the rites or something.
And all he can think about is just Leisure Suit Larry, wet dreams dry twice. That's a real title, I believe, of a newest Larry's leisure suit.
Perfect. So they'll have to do some. So this kid like reluctantly takes his little bowl of potpourri, and they told him, and he goes down to the basement with his cousin, or not cousin, his stepbrother.
Yes,
Chadwick. And Chadwick's like, okay, I'll take this side. Chadwick's kind of like a more upstanding, does all his homework kind of kid, and the boy that our Leisure Suit Larry boy is Cody. More of like a loner, kind of grumpy he's mad that he moved away from his friends, and like he's kind of a skater kid. He wears a backwards baseball cap and stuff.
Oh yeah, and a Vans hoodie.
Absolutely.
Oh, and he might be really pissed because now he's in a place that has snow, but before, no snow, he could skateboard wherever.
Right. So he's like, oh, I can't skateboard. All I have to do is, but at least I can play Leisure Suit Larry.
No, Shelby, I came up with, he doesn't forget to do it. He doesn't, so he's going down there, and guess what? He also has his skateboard or Heelys, one of the two. Which one?
Oh, how old is this boy?
I don't know, 13, 14?
Skateboard's cooler, I think.
Okay, so he has a skateboard, or he sees a skateboard down there. It's been like confiscated. I know a lot of basements have a cement floor. And as someone who lived in Michigan, when I was skating, if someone's house had a basement with just concrete, we would use that to just practice flip tricks. And I think this kid does a flip trick and kind of beefs it, and either he falls into the potpourri and doesn't deal with it, or the skateboard flies up and hits the potpourri.
Ooh, and it like falls, and he like and they're like, Cody.
Oh yeah.
Cody, come out. Or, like, come back up. We're gonna go to dinner. And he like runs out. Or yeah, because they hear it. They're like, Cody, what was that sound?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nothing. And he runs. He doesn't even look where the skateboard went. He runs, and that's why he forgets Leisure Suit Larry down there, because his new stepmom was like, what are you doing? And he just kind of messed up something in the church basement.
Yeah, he put down Leisure Suit Larry, saw the skateboard, got that. And hey, this is kind of a laminated, painted floor, so he wasn't really thinking about how slippery it would be. That is a real thing. Be aware, children.
Okay, perfect. So he's trying to get along. He doesn't want to get in trouble with his new stepmom. He runs up there. He and Chadwick, without a K, run up there, back up, and they go out to dinner, and maybe they're talking about... The kid is always like a jerk for a while. So maybe at dinner, the mom is like, I love this festival. You know, it's the respect it shows for the dead and blah, 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 or whatever. And Cody says something like, wish I could get a little respect. Got no respect.
And then the dad says, hey, cut that out or I'm confiscating all your Rodney Dangerfield tapes.
And your Leisure Suit Larry. And that's when he remembers he doesn't have his Leisure Suit Larry anymore.
Yeah, because for sure, Leisure Suit Larry quotes Rodney Dangerfield. That's that kind of bullshit humor that dude has. Again, like my thing on the tip of my tongue, the name Al Lowe. Holy shit. I think that's the dude who created Leisure Suit Larry. And Shelby can see I did not Google that at all.
No, it just came to him.
It came on the tip of my tongue.
It came on the tip of his tongue.
Oh, man. Al Lowe is hearing this and saying he needs to write the next one.
Al, can you be on our podcast? Okay, perfect. So they're at dinner. They have their family moment where it's just like, it's not good. But we got to get this relationship between Cody and Chadwick. Maybe like after dinner, Cody's like freaking out because he doesn't have his Leisure Suit Larry. And he's like, Chadwick, you got to help me. Is there a way to get into the church at night? Like I got into the church. And Chadwick wants to like impress his new brother. So they go over there and he like.
We find out that Chadwick, that's the nerd brother. Yes. We find out Chadwick is kind of like a youth group, not leader, but kind of right-hand man. So he would have keys to the church.
Yeah, like he's like, oh, well, sometimes I go help clean up after the vacation Bible study or whatever. Like, so he, this is a fucking Christian podcast.
Yes.
So Chadwick is like, okay. And Chadwick, of course, is so like, he's like, oh, I've never snuck out of the house like this or sneaked out of the house like this. Like, and I've never like broken into a place like this. Like, I don't know. This is kind of weird, Cody. And Cody's like, calm down. It's nothing. what are you afraid or something? He's like teasing him about being afraid.
Yeah, he kind of pushes into his religion of saying like, isn't the church the safest place for you to be?
Exactly. That's where God's watching out for you, right?
That's God's home. Nothing bad can happen to you there.
So they go to the church.
Cut to, we see Chadwick on the ground, clearly just slipped on ice right out front of the church, and as like, oh, you can't get hurt there. He got hurt there.
Right. So it's foreshadowing. And so Chadwick's ankle Chadwick's ankle is twisted, and he's like, okay, I go here, but my ankle really hurts. I can't go down in the basement with you because I can't go down those stairs.
Yeah.
So then Cody has to go down into the basement by himself.
Yeah, and Chadwick just goes to the main area where like the altar and stuff is, and he's in a pew and he's just praying.
Okay, he's just praying. So we follow Cody down into the basement, and it's really dark. He doesn't know where the lights are, and he's complaining. He's like, I don't know where the lights are. There's twists his ankle, can't walk down the stairs, like he's muttering and stuff. But when he gets down there, he's like, oh, what's that smell?
Shelby, I am legitimately getting scared. I forgot to mention, churches at night terrify me so much that when I go on walks, there's a lot of churches in Chicago, I will go on the other side of the street.
Well, okay, you wanted a fucked up episode, yes. James. We chose your trigger.
Like, picture this. Like, he's looking for things, and then all of a sudden he sees like a white glow. If I saw that through the window of a church, I would piss, I would shit, I would take a machine gun, and I would put it in my mouth.
That's like... We really escalated there. Like, pissing and shitting is one thing.
It's a G.G. Allen reference.
Okay. What a lyricist.
Oh, it's not even lyrics. It's like an answering machine thing he did in the beginning of a song.
Amazing. Who is G.G. Allen again?
Oh, no, we do not have time to get into it unless you want to incorporate G.G. Allen into the story.
He can just play the part of Pope Perry.
Yeah, let's do that. That's insane. Yeah, G.G. Allen, thick Boston accent, New England area. G.G. Allen has, did he have a mustache of Charlie Chaplin? No, that was his brother that did.
I'm telling you, I do not have any information about this. I should have taken improv classes because I don't know how to respond when you make references that I don't know anything about.
You just say, oh yeah, G.G. Allen, didn't he like shit on people on stage?
But I didn't know about that.
Well, that's what he did.
G.G. Allen, is that like LL Bean?
No. Oh my God. LL Bean's attire, right?
I wish. It's like a clothing catalog or something.
Oh, yeah, attire. Clothing attire.
Attire? I thought you said tire.
Oh, no. Okay, you want to know what? G.G. Allen is an LL Bean floating around, and how they do this. We don't see it, but they have him hoisted in the air, and they just cut off the bottom. This is just behind the scenes, and he's on like a tire swing type deal. That's how they're getting him to swing back and forth.
Perfect. Okay, so we've got Cody in the basement. Mm-hmm. It's smelling real bad in there.
I think he's like, oh, what is that? He checks the trash. That's empty. He checks the fridge, anticipating rotted meat like me in high school. Nothing there. And he's like, what is that?
Yeah, and then eventually he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna get my game and go. Because all these kids are always really bad actors. They're saying stuff out loud that like, why are you saying that? And it's very clear that like adults wrote these lines for these kids to say. It's just like stuff no kid would ever say.
Can we say like when he goes downstairs, he's like, oh, it's getting a little hot. And then when he unzips his jacket, he's wearing a leisure suit underneath. Like, that's how into this shit he's gotten. Okay,
yeah. So the whole time he is dressed like Leisure Suit Larry, his idol. And that's the only reason his dad lets him keep playing the games, because he tried to take him away and the kid went feral. Perfect.
I'm guessing we're about to see a paranormal entity.
Yeah.
Do we want it to be like we see the Pope and it's like, oh, that's not, I mean, seeing a ghost anyway is scary, but you don't get any fear from it. But as you like, it flickers in and out, and then all of a sudden, like a demon claw like grabs it and like pulls it away? Or do we want to just see a demon right off the bat?
I think, here, let me help with this, because what I'm envisioning, and this is scary to me, is that he's like, whatever, I'm going to go grab my Leisure Suit Larry. And he goes over to that bathroom that he was playing Leisure Suit Larry in, where he knocked over the potpourri bowl over near it. So he like steps on the potpourri and he's like, oh, no one cleaned this up. And then he sees this like you said, like a faint glowing coming from the bathroom. And he's like, did I leave my game on? And he like opens the door. And the game, he's like, oh, here it is. It's like right by the door, his game. But then when he turns and looks at the glowing, it's like the Pope, but he's like turned, you see the back of him, and he's standing at like the far end of the bathroom. Because we're going to say that this toilet was like installed later in part of this bathroom. So it's the Pope's back, and then the Pope slowly turns around, and he looks kind of normal at first, but then he opens his mouth, and it gets real big, and he's like demon mouth. His mouth opens real big, and he's like, ugh! And then like a blast of like smelly air comes out, and Cody's like, ah! And like grabs Leisure Suit Larry and runs upstairs. Is that scary enough?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially just the rust and par of it all.
Yeah, the what?
So in Blair Witch, have you seen Blair Witch?
I have. I love Blair Witch.
Okay, so the serial killer who made children look in corners, his name was Rustin Parr.
Okay.
People say, "Oh, they're pulling a Blair Witch." No, they're pulling a Rustin Parr.
Exactly. So it is like that, but the Pope is just like, good. So Cody runs upstairs. He's like, we gotta get out of here. I saw the Pope, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to tell Chadwick, and Chadwick's kind of like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like, the Pope's a good guy. Like, the Pope's not evil. The Pope kept away demons. I don't think that what you saw was the Pope. And then, like, Cody's like, no, I swear. Like, it was like, I don't know what happened. It was, like, so fucked up. You gotta believe me. And Chadwick's like, let's just get home. My ankle really hurts, and I don't know if I want to deal with this anymore, or whatever. I wonder if that's like halfway through where we would cut back to the...
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So we're cut back to the campfire, and they're like, so he just got his game back? Like, it seems like the story would be over at that point, or something. Like Sam is like, so he got his game back. The story's over. Let's go. Let's get out of here. And James or someone is like, well, maybe that's not the end of the story. Maybe something else happens. Like something in general, like maybe that's not the end of the story. Maybe he still needs to beat the Leisure Suit Larry game or something. Just like something stupid.
Then you say something along the lines of something about tradition.
Right. Okay. But that's not the end, because once the tradition has been broken, it can't be fixed just by seeing one ghost or something like that.
Like, broken traditions can't be brushed under the rug, something like that.
Exactly. So they wake up, they go to sleep, they wake up the next morning. Chadwick's ankle is all swollen. It hurts real bad. They also get a call that there's like some kind of flu going around town. Like maybe school's canceled because so many teachers are sick, or like it's the winter. They're on break. There's no school, but maybe like both of the parents are feeling really sick, or like Cody wakes up in the morning and his dad is there. And he's like, oh, where's stepmom? Like, oh, she really wasn't feeling well. You know what? I think I got a fever too. Like, the dad looks pretty bad. And then it turns out like a lot of people in town are sick.
Mm-hmm. Can I have an alt when you about what you said about tradition? Broken traditions won't heal with a good night's sleep. Something like that, because there's traditions broken like a bone. And I would also like it if Chadwick's other leg is fucked up, implying that on their way back, he slipped again.
Like Cody first goes and checks goes downstairs, notices like, Chadwick's not down here and neither is his mom. And the dad is like really kind of sweaty, just like looking real poorly.
What would you say? Does he hold sweat well?
No, he does not hold sweat well. He's sweating and he does not hold it well, James.
And Cody's like, oh man, you got to get a leisure suit, Dad. They hold sweat well. And
his dad's like, not now, Cody, and then goes to the bathroom to like throw up. And Cody goes upstairs to check on Chadwick and is like, hey, why don't you come down to breakfast? And Chadwick's, both of his ankles are swollen and he's real hurt. And he's like, I don't know, I might need to go to the doctor. And Cody's like, oh, both our parents are sick. Chadwick's like, can you at least bring me some water or something? And Cody is like, yeah, sure. But then he forgets. He starts playing Leisure Suit Larry downstairs. He forgets until Chadwick is like, Cody. Ooh, I have an idea. So, because everyone's sick, the stepmom comes out and is like, honey, Cody, I'm so sorry to ask you this, but you're the only one not sick in the house. We really need to pick up some check from the church to deliver it to the food bank or something. Would you mind running down to the church for me and getting this sorted out or whatever? Or like picking up the check. I'm trying to think of what people do around the holidays involving churches. Like I assume maybe some kind of fundraiser for the needy.
Fundraisers or cans could go from one place to another.
Oh yeah, so she's got the cans. She's like, this is the last day. I forgot to bring them before. Could you take these down to the church and put them in the collection bin? So when Cody gets to the church, he's got the thing and someone's walking out and he's like, oh, thank goodness someone is here. Here, take this thing for the collection. It's like some creepy old man, and the creepy old man or lady is like, oh, I would, darling, but we already moved the donation bins downstairs and I can't take those stairs and I gotta go get home and take care of my sick relatives. It seems everyone in town is ill. And then Cody's like, ugh, okay. And he walks into the church and goes downstairs and it still smells real bad. And then there's like a wave of cockroaches or something.
Oh, no. This is too scary now. Too scary. Also,
I think it'd be great if he hears a little sound because that's like the demon infestation. It's got the smell. It's got the pestilence, the sickness. Okay, so.
Can we also establish in that sermon that the priest did during the
Pork Pie Potpourri Festival.
During that, he's telling the story of how this is why we do this. We need to establish that this child has the information. And maybe eventually when we get there, there's programs, when you go to a church or something, they'll give little pamphlets out that say, hey, here's what we're discussing today. He'll see one of those programs, then it flashes back to what this guy was saying, and he's like, oh, well, I need to fix the potpourri. I just want to make sure we have that established for the listeners.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because we were talking about how, like, the person sat up all night with their special sacred bowl of potpourri or whatever. So Cody is downstairs. Oh, I want to talk about this scene more. I know you don't want to hear about the cockroaches, but I want to set this up for myself so I don't have to do more work later.
At least call them cockroaches.
Okay, they're cockroaches.
All right.
They love to watch people fuck their wives.
Hell yeah.
So Cody's like, he's trying to take the stuff down there, and he's like really debating just leaving it at the top of the stairs. But he's like, he feels bad because like his parents seem really sick or whatever. And he's like, okay, I'll go take this downstairs. And the old lady's still watching him like, go on, like go downstairs. And I'll be right up here and I'll let you out, when you're done or whatever. So he goes and then like here's like kind of, he's like, okay, that was easy. It was nothing. Like it just smells bad in here. I was being silly, last night. And then he hears like a rustling from where he puts down the stuff in the donation box. Like right when he's almost gotten to the stairs, he hears like this rustling, and then he turns around and he's like, hello? Is someone there? And then there's like more rustling. And then he kind of like creeps over because he's like less scared at this point. And then the sounds start and he's like, Whereas a normal person like me would just like run upstairs without a second thought. I'd be like, I don't need to know what it is. I'm not curious. He like stops and looks, and then like a wave of cockroaches comes out of the donation bin. And then that bathroom door flies open and that screaming Pope is in there again. And that's when Cody screams and runs up and leaves.
Wait, he's leaving again?
He's got to leave again. And this time, yeah, because he's got to deny, like he runs out of there twice.
Okay.
And then he's got to be brave to go back in there and fix things. Because that'll be like the climax of or like the climax is him, you know, finally being brave enough to go put right what he did, which means he has to go spend time down there and actually put the potpourri back in the bowl that he spilled.
And I think so, like, maybe does he go home or does he maybe go to a restaurant across the street only to find out they're short staffed so he can't, like, get anything? He's just trying to catch a breather.
Yeah, I think he goes everywhere in town, like, or not like everywhere, but he goes, the lady outside or whatever, she's starting to look, everywhere he looks, like people are coughing. Yeah, he goes into like a restaurant or like a McDonald's or something just to sit, or the library. He just wants to sit and play Leisure Suit Larry, okay? And people are like passing out.
I was thinking, so like when he like is calm and is like, what do I do? He's on his phone scrolling on Twitter and he sees a tweet by Al Lowe that says, "Real heroes man up and nut." And ... There's no up there. It's just nut. You think it's going to end with nut up, but no. Real heroes man up and nut. Period.
That makes it sound like he's gonna go cum in the bathroom to get rid of the Pope.
Well, he's like, no, I need to be a hero. There's clearly something going on. Oh my God, that story. I remember it. And maybe maybe he was chewing gum and he spat it into the program, wadded it up, put it into his leisure
That's cute, yeah.
jacket, and then pulls it out and he's like, oh.
So he goes, maybe he's like, I feel like he wouldn't truly care about fixing this and getting it right. Once he sees all the pestilence, the cockroaches, he pulls that out and he reads it. He's like, but this can't be real. And he goes home and he sees that now his dad is like really, really sick. His dad's like sicker than anyone.
Just as if he's a dog and their best friend in the back of a hot van.
Exactly. Like he chugged hot dog water and he's just sweating up a storm. And the mom is like, oh, I should call the ambulance, you know, like, Cody, you stay here with Chadwick, you know, we gotta get help for your dad, all that. And like, you know, Cody's freaking the fuck out. And he's like, oh my God, everyone's sick. And he's like, wait, illness, pestilence, and plague? You know, and then he pulls out that brochure, is like, oh, I remember seeing that or like hearing that. And he reads more about it. And he remembers the spilled potpourri, and that's when he's like, I gotta go nut.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, he starts telling Chadwick again what he saw, and Chadwick's like, what are you gonna do about it? And Cody's like, well, it's like the great Al Lowe said, real heroes man up.
And nut. Yeah.
And then he rides his skateboard to the church, back to the church.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool because it is icy, but he's somehow like able to do like not as spins. I don't know what. They're cool things that you might see a Peralta do. And
he does a kickflip. He does a fakey nose grind, fakey front side nose slide.
Okay, well, these are all very dangerous things to do on ice. I was saying he's just like sliding, doing cool stuff like a Peralta would do.
Well, listen, James, why can't he do cooler tricks? He's a cool teen. He plays Leisure Suit Larry, for God's sakes.
And you want to know, as he's like kick flipping, I was going to say maybe he's like jumping over like spirit demons and he's like dodging the pestilence and all of this stuff.
Yeah, the like cockroaches. He's like jumping over them. Well, I was thinking before he leaves, he grabs, like you said, he puts the toothpaste under his nose and he gets like a can of Raid or something for the cockroaches. And he makes sure to wear like good shoes and stuff. And he goes down.
because of the demons, he like puts a rosary on.
And he puts a rosary on. He's got the rosary on there. Oh, maybe it's like his new stepmom was praying with it. And she's like, here, I know you're worried about your dad, but trust in your faith and everything will be okay.
Okay,
and she gives it to him before she goes.
Very over the head. I was just putting sprinkles like, hey, this is as much Christianity that early Simpsons would have, but now we're really in there.
So it's subtle. He just sees her praying with it and she like hands it to him or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's for later Shelby to think about when I write when I actually write this out. So he gets to the church. He's got the toothpaste. He's got the rosary. He's got the can of Raid. He's ready to go downstairs. He grabs a bowl of potpourri and he's like, I'm going to confront this scary monster. And so he goes down there. There's like a cockroach here and there. And the bathroom door is like locked. He can see like glowing coming around from it. And the bowl is outside the bathroom, like on the floor with the potpourri scattered everywhere. And he's trying to like get it all back in the bowl. And he's like grabbing petals, but then he's grabbing some cockroaches. And he's like, and it's so gross. And he's like scrambling to get it all in there. And meanwhile, the bathroom door is like, it's starting to glow around the edges and it's like rattling. And you can hear like the groaning of the Pope, of the demonic Pope. I'm getting really into this.
Yeah. I also think like maybe to unlock the door, did you have any ideas? Because I have one.
Hit me with it.
He's a skater guy. He loves doing that. He's like, there has to be an updated way to do this. And he's like, wait. He pulls out some Axe body spray and just mists it onto the door, and that kind of breaks the bonds enough for him to pull it open.
Yeah, or he like sprays it under the door.
Oh yeah, that too.
In the crack under the door, and it makes the scary Pope stand back. So then he's able to open it, and the Pope is there and going, ah! And he's like, and
I wish we were filming this, guys. Shelby's face was very funny.
Thank you. Cody is like, he has to say something like, you need to stop hurting my dad. Or whatever. Like, I'm not afraid of you.
He's like, I see it now that this town is good and I shouldn't just poo-poo their traditions. I should po-po them.
Yes, because I may not have wanted to move here, but it's what my dad wants, and I want my dad to be happy. So maybe instead of poo-pooing their traditions, I'll po-po them. And he like puts the potpourri on the back of the toilet. He has to get like right up on the Pope, who's still like screaming and kind of like cocking his head at him, like what? And then once he puts the potpourri there, the Pope, the demonicness like starts to fade away from his face, and he becomes the serene visage of the true Pope Perry, who's like, thank you, my son. You have resealed the demonic presence in this church. And then he floats like back into the wall and goes away. And then next thing you know, Cody runs out of the church and he gets to like the hospital where they've admitted the dad to the hospital. And then he gets there, everyone's there, the mom, the dad, and Chadwick are all there, and they're all okay now. And they're like, it looks like he's gonna make a full recovery. And then they're all like, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, hey, must have been one of those flus you had to sweat out.
It must have been one of those flus you had to sweat out. So then we cut back to the fire, and Shelby, the Shelby character, is like, and from then on, the town only became more bustling. And every year, Cody faithfully placed the potpourri in the bathroom.
Hell
the
yeah.
End.
We also see that Sean's jacket, like any Bill stuff, has been like ripped off and is like clearly burning in the fire.
Perfect.
I also,
Sean will love this.
When Cody sprays it under the door, I think he should say, I gotta be a hero, man up, and nut, and he like sprays it from his pelvis underneath the door.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we've got people need to react to the story, right? So someone's like, wait, so are you saying if you don't follow tradition, a demon's gonna make your family sick? And like James is like, I don't think it's that intense. It just shows you that sometimes traditions are really important in order to maintain relationships. And someone's like, and that's what we do. That's like what we do here at the Midnight Society. We're not just telling stories. We're telling the stories of our friendship.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, well, I guess if there was any way to close the year out, then it's not too bad to close it out with my friends here.
Yeah. We could also say something along the lines of traditions. Missing one doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you miss one, that could lead to missing them all. And if we were to just skip tonight, maybe the next time we do it, but hey, it's now the precedent that this is no longer a tradition. We can just do it willy-nilly.
I don't know if I agree with that moral, but yeah, let's put it in there.
Well, I think so, because there are times like my friends and I would watch the Chris Gethard show every single Wednesday, but then once people were like, I'm not going to go, like one person didn't, and then immediately it was no longer a tradition, and I was the only one watching Chris Gethard get beat up while the front bottoms play in the background.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's like, if no one wants to do it, yeah, I don't like forcing people to do stuff they don't want to do, you know? Like, that seems like a bad tradition.
But I think it wasn't people didn't want to do it. It was, I could just be at home depressed because, hey, baby, most of my friends are depressives.
Now I'm like, oh, now I can't miss a recording with James. I'm sweating, but I'm holding it well.
Also, I'm guessing you're not caught up on Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling.
I am not.
Okay, so Sean told a story about him going armadillo style to defend himself during a fight that was about to break out, meaning he like the big puffy starter jackets. This is what I was referencing is
yes,
that they have football logos on them. At the end of the story, Sean is so scared he is armadillo style, which means he put his arms into the jacket and then the jacket over his knees, and he's just scared like a little armadillo.
He's a little ball. Yeah. That sounds perfect. And and Sean's got that Catholic upbringing, so this story will scare him also.
Yeah.
Perfect. We love scaring our friends. And I also think that we're not going to need that many characters for this. So this is excellent. Or not that many actors. So we've got all of that at the end, and then like everyone's putting their arms around each other and patting each other on the back, and they're like, I'm glad we did this. And then we just, see the fire burning down, and they pour the water over the fire, and it smolders for a little while, and then the end.
I think even cooler, instead of water, someone has a snow shovel, takes the shovel, and just plops a big old chunk of snow on there.
That's excellent. Yeah, I like that.
As they're all singing, glorious.
Beautiful. Wow. Can you believe it? We wrote an episode of a show.
There we go. We did it 3 times in a row.
We've done it. We keep doing it.
Uh-huh.
James, this has been fun.
It's been fantastic. Shelly, we got to do it January. It's got to be step by step.
We'll do step by step, James.
Day by, fresh start over. It's so much so that Nicole, like, she's busting up laughing, and I'm stoned, and I look over to her. I was like, wait, are you high too? And she's like, no, I'm sober. I was like, this show's just that good.
I'm not looking forward to watching it, but I am looking forward to writing an episode of it with you.
I will give you a collection of the best episodes, kind of like with what Craig did for us with Power Rangers.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have like a similar foundation for it. So that you heard it here, folks. Next episode's going to be the table read of this beautiful episode we just wrote. But the one after that, we're going to talk about step by step.
Day by day. Season 3 Karen Foster, I want to start dressing like her.
Okay. Okay, well, you have time before the next episode comes out to get that sorted.
It's like a loose blouse over a fitted vest.
I think you'd look great in that outfit.
It's like a magician mixed with Stevie Nicks. That's her aesthetic in season 3.
Hell yeah. Stevie Nicks in American Horror Story Coven.
This scares me.
All right. Well, that's been the episode of the show that we just did.
Yeah. You got anything to plug?
I have my podcast, The Rom Complex, available on all your podcast apps. And I've got the Patreon for that, patreon.com/The Rom Complex. I also have my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/R2Shelby2. I am live on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Also, I do dancing on the weekends there, so check it out.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content. It's great stuff. Shelby's been on one of the episodes. Go check that stuff out. Also, sign up for the Rom Complex's Patreon. Give us cash. Or give us a job in TV writing. We'll be a creative consultant.
Can finally move on from episode 0.
Yeah. We've proven it. We can write a spec script.
Absolutely.
But hey, if you're on that Patreon and you want to be generous, $10 a month, you get all of that exclusive weekly stuff, $5 patrons, but you get exclusive monthly content as well as shout outs on every single free feed podcast. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F., Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z, the Waz, Orion, he's a rapper, Defo, D-F-O, Kayla, AK2 Grapes, Jordan B, the Chaos Witch, my Bickle, my brother in common law, Joshua, Jakis, Steve Barnes of Sweet Child of Time / Sweet Child of 1899, the womb in which I emerged. I was not immaculately conceived because I'm not pure like the Virgin Mary. That's the Immaculate Conception, guys. The virgin birth is when Jesus was. And finally, Lil Corey's BFF and roommate, Shane. I've been James.
I've been Shelby.
And this is Formulaic.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a Marshland Media
and OK Owl production.
Produced by me, James McCollum.
And me, Shelby Sweeterman.
For more content, please visit MLMpod.com.
Or OKOwl.com.
And for the best way to support this podcast, please visit patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single week. Thank you very much for listening.
Now I'm recording.
Were you recording
that's
on
a lot better.
your Alexa?
I don't have one of those. I have a Google.
Man, that's what I started using to record my raps on. I'm like Prince. I have a microphone in every single room, but they're Alexas that I bought a pallet of on like warehouse Amazon.
Yeah, it's weird that you have like 5 of them in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, that because I like when you record orchestras or choirs, you have multiple microphones. So like they're in stereo, one in the center, what have you, surround sound. So now I can spin and get kind of a Doppler effect.
While you're pissing. Is that what?
Well, I guess pissing throughout my mouth because that's what I call my singing.
That's what a lot of people call your singing. I've seen the reviews on iTunes.
Yeah, Pissmas, dude. That's what it's all about.
We love Pissmas. James, I'm scared.
To do this episode?
I'm scared of this episode.
Okay, well, you want to get into it?
I mean, me saying I'm scared was a way to get into it.
No, I meant like, do you want to like start saying like, my name's James and you know that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
This isn't the beginning of the show. This is a blooper.
We didn't go over that part of the formula.
Oh, no. So
before we started.
You want to start it out?
What do I say?
You say, hey guys, my name's Shelby.
I can do that.
Okay, Owl.
Oh, yeah.